school shootings because we don't have guns.
Right.
Do you can you believe how hard it is to get an unregistered gun here? You It's impossible, literally impossible. I mean, you still can, but it's so hard. And I mean, if they catch you having like an unregistered gun, you're going to jail for so many years because it's so
Right.
dangerous. And also, you guys, I think that it's like in your legislation, like Amendment or something that
Yeah.
you must have a gun. We don't
No,
have
you
that.
don't. It's not you must, but you have the right
I mean,
to have
you
a gun.
have the right to have a gun.
Right.
No, we don't have the right. I mean, we don't have the.
Guys, we're back with another video, and today we have a guest star. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guest star.
Hi guys, my name is Giacomo. I'm a uni student, 20 years old, and I'm born and raised in Italy. I'm sorry
yeah.
for my broke English, but I'll try my best.
Nah, his English good, y'all. Anyways, today we're gonna be talking about the difference between America and Italy. And honestly, I don't see why we gotta waste any time. Let's just jump right into it. All right. So the first prompt that we're gonna go over is, what was it, y'all? Social. Tempest, help me.
What is like socially acceptable here as kids, like, you know,
Versus what's socially acceptable in America.
right?
Ooh.
Okay, all right. Giacomo, you want to go first?
Can you break down the question real
Okay,
quick?
maybe because I've never been to the States, I didn't really notice any differences between like my behaviors and yours, guys.
Yeah.
So maybe did you find anything that I like can confirm or deny, and maybe something will pop up.
I'm not really sure.
Like,
to be-
Italians stare a lot.
Oh yeah, y'all do stare a lot. Look, when I first got
Yo,
here,
I went to McDonald's, bro. Hey.
stared.
Exactly.
In
Even
America,
now,
Is
Is
like,
it, oh wait, is it okay? Is
McDonald's-
it because we're American or black, or is it just normalized to stare like all out?
No, actually, from what I know, from what I've seen, I mean, it's not that normal to stare people, but maybe it's just because they've never seen like some black guys like you because you're from the States, so you got different style, a
Yeah.
different way of dressing. So maybe
Right.
people are just curious. That's it.
True. What's something that? Let me think of something that's acceptable in America that's not acceptable here.
I know a lot of young kids, like they definitely have like a different behavior. Like here, a lot of young kids like do way more dangerous stuff. Like more.
I feel like they're more independent. They're just a lot more independent.
A lot more independent.
We are touching like a nice subject actually. Well, about the being independent stuff, I remember that my mom, when I was like 6 years old, she used to let me go out and play with my friends. So I used to grab my bike, go play with my friends, and come back like at 6, 7 at night.
Man,
Yeah,
what?
I was so independent,
When
and
you
I
were
didn't have a
6?
phone. Yeah, I didn't have a phone back in the days. So, but she trusted me. I was always around the block and stuff. But now kids, well, the situation kind of escalated among like in the years because when I was young, I used to do bad stuff, but I've never robbed anybody. I never like had a knife or stuff. But young kids nowadays they do because we have the influence of the UK rap with all the roadman stuff, so being from the streets and stuff, and young kids want to like be like that.
Right.
So that's why they try to act tough, they try to rob you, they try to always make a mess and start like to throw hands, and I don't like that, but I don't know. I hope it's like just a phase or something.
Yeah, you can find a similarity in that when it comes to
America.
too, because like New York rappers have a huge influence on kids, and especially because kids in the U.S. are getting famous off of like drill rap.
Yeah.
Like kids my age, like talking about guns and killing.
Man,
Yeah.
what was I feel like you don't see a lot of kids though who like will rob people in the States, but am I wrong though?
I mean, we don't really see it though. I know kids that.
I mean,
buy
honestly, it depends where you are because like
Yeah, here too,
America
here
is such
too,
a
actually.
melting pot. Like, you know what I mean? Like some areas the kids are perfect, they don't do anything,
Yeah.
they don't get in
Yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
trouble. But in other areas, these kids feel like they have to defend themselves. Like it's almost like a dog eat dog world. Like they feel like they have to act tough in order, not get punked or anything like that. But I mean, it just depends what part of America
I
you're in.
mean, like also what I've like heard from like states and here, like here, it's like the south is like the bad area, and then the north is like the better area. You know,
Ooh,
like
yeah.
safer. And but like
Yeah.
in the States, it's more of like everywhere has its own bad place. It just depends on where you are in that state. I should say,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I think that's yeah.
Yeah, but well, let me explain because let's start by saying that North Italy and the center and the south, well, were like two different countries for so many years. Okay, so there are many cultural differences, social differences, and even the surroundings are different. So let's start saying about that. And the south, historically speaking, was the one less economically developed. So that's why there's not much work in the south. People just do bad stuff, but it's not just that. I mean, it depends also on
Honestly,
the
that's the
area.
same way in
Because
America, to be
here in
honest.
the north, if you go to some big cities like Milan, for example, on the not in the city center, but like more on the outside, it's as dangerous as the south. So nowadays it's becoming like more the same thing, but on the south also it's real relevant, like the presence of the mafia. Okay, you can't see that, but you know there is. For
Right.
example, you can go in small villages, and if you see a statue of the Virgin Mary, you know that in that place mafia runs things. Okay, and the cops cannot do anything. But for example, here in the north, there might be or there might not. You can't really tell because it's more subtle. So it's not like that you can see and it's obvious. So.
Right. That makes sense. It's like kind of the same way in America. A lot of like the areas that face economic adversities and racial adversities and things like that are the areas that are more like prone to criminal activity and things like that. Like it's honestly like the same way. You know what I mean? Like people just trying to make a living, trying to get by, trying to survive.
Yeah, but I think that actually we are lucky from a certain point of view because our healthcare system is free, our school system is free. You don't have to spend any money to get an awesome education. And for example, if you don't have a big high income, you can still go to university, not pay a lot of taxes.
Right.
For example, if you are on the lowest, there are some levels of incomes. If you are on the lowest, you pay, for example, 200 euros each year to go to university. So even if you are from a rough area, you are given the opportunity to raise your social status.
Right.
So you have no excuses here. And that's why many kids don't like that, because it's too much effort to study, to try to turn things around.
Right.
It's easier to join like a gang or something and not study, even though you have all the possibilities. And that's why it's really a shame.
Man, it's low key the same. I mean, it's not the same in the States because honestly, some like kids end up going to private school, but you have to pay so much money to end up going to private school to get a better education. So kids end up stuck in public school or schools that are underfunded. They don't get enough money, you know what I mean, like that. And the education is just not good.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids who have money, they end up going to universities and that because they have the money to pay for tuition. They have the money to go to private schools, things, you know what I mean? And I mean, like, a lot of people feel like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're smart, you can get scholarships, things like that. But, like, still, like, what about the people who just aren't reaching it? Like, but they're close, but they just aren't reaching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I understand, for example, the struggles that people from rough areas in the States live. But I don't condone the bad behaviors we live here, because we have all the possibilities. For example, if you want to go to college in the US, you have to spend a lot of money. If you don't have like a scholarship or something, here you don't. So why shouldn't you go? Okay, why shouldn't you try to turn things around? And that's why many Italian kids, okay, not just Italian kids like me, okay, go to university or just finish school. Like high school is even enough to start working. But for example, at my university, and from what I heard from all my friends in universities in general, there are not many minorities. Like, for example, I've seen just 5 black people in my university. And that's why I ask myself, why? You have all the possibilities to try and, I don't know, strive for something better. Why? I mean, from this parents' point of view, why shouldn't you encourage your son to go and study? And from the son point of view, why shouldn't you try to achieve something more? I mean, you have the
Right.
possibilities. You don't have to pay. I mean, you should just try. And many kids that come from abroad, they don't do that. They don't do that, and I don't know why. I genuinely don't believe that there are, for example, they are dumb or something. No, that cannot be. So that might be a problem with the culture situation because they don't get encouraged enough, or they come from a rough place. They don't have much money,
Right.
so they have like to work earlier, so they don't finish school and stuff. But I don't know.
Right. A lot of times I think it's also like, and this is also in the States too. This happens all the time in the States. Kids who don't have like a role model who made it
Yeah.
out of high school, made it to college. You know what I mean? Like, they're not pushing them to do that. You know what I mean? That's why like a lot of like colleges in the States are striving for first generation college students and things like that because they know it's hard for those students who don't have those role models to really strive for excellence.
Actually, you are right because maybe if kids would have some role model and some kind of goal to
Right.
achieve, they would be more encouraged.
If the bar is already set low, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
also like what happens in that child's like life at the time too, like because stuff can be going on where kids can just straight up forget about school and like forget about education. Period.
yeah, that's what happens actually many times.
They just become a product of their circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. Because for example, going out, you have noticed some guys that I've told you many times, guys, let's drop that.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
be nice,
Yeah, say
but
drop
nothing
it.
more. I don't know. Maybe those guys didn't have the same kind of opportunities I had, but still, why would you
Right.
do criminal stuff and all that things when you can like earn an honest living? You can have all the opportunities you want. You just have to be a well-spoken and polite person, and it's not much to ask.
Right.
Because, for example, my parents come from the south. Okay, they come from a very, very rough area where the mafia used to run things. Okay, in the 90s, mafia were, I don't know, they used to tell me about some shootings that used to happen like in the city center of where they came from. So that's the starting point. They got out. They come to the north, and my dad barely finished like high school. My mom didn't have a stable job up until 4 years ago. Okay, so I lived like my first 5-6 years of my childhood with my dad that was like to Milan working in constructions, and my mom working like for 2 months, then not working for 6, and so on. And still, they were able to turn things around with hard work, and so that's why they are an inspiration for me. So why shouldn't also people that come here, like first generation immigrants and their sons, not achieve something more and turn to the criminal life? I don't think that's the way.
How like I can see it is like in the States, like I feel like if you're like already at the bottom of like of the pyramid, basically you're not up like
It's
having
possible,
money.
but it's not.
It's possible,
It's not
but it's not
easy.
like an easy thing where like as if you're already born into like high up on the on like having money, and like you already have money, and like you're making a good living, like as a young child, like your parents have money, boom, your life is already set up, kind of like you're already going to prep school when you're like kindergarten or something like that, like, but here it's like it's just a totally like different concept type of.
Everyone starts at the same point.
Yeah, kinda actually, because that's true. Because we don't have to go to private schools. We don't have to pay for health insurance, so we can save up money. I mean, if you go to a public school, you can find the son of like a very rich family and also the poorest kid there is on the block. Okay, so we are equals. Of course, if your family has more money, has more connections, you're gonna get a better job. But if you study and if you strive for the best, you can achieve the same level of wealth if you really like put work in what you do.
Right.
I do think like that it is like a bunch of opportunities in America though. Like there's
Yeah.
little things you can do, but I feel like at the end of the day, like it's extremely hard.
It's like starting a race from different points on the track.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, starting a race from different points in the track, basically looking at that perspective.
Well, here actually we don't have as many opportunities as you guys do because you have all the big corporations and stuff. But still, our mentality, especially from a guy that my parents comes from the south and always told me, okay, you gotta study, you gotta find a nice job for the state, for example, military teacher, like that have like a stable pay, you are not gonna get fired, and just settle for that. But I don't know, maybe because I'm influenced for the American way of thinking.
Right.
I always got something more in my mind. I want to
Right.
achieve something more. So because often Italians just want to be comfortable in their job, not doing much, just be safe, not risk anything. That's why we don't have as many entrepreneurs as you do, guys. It's a different mentality. But as young kids, especially in university studying business, as I do, we have all this switch of mentality, okay? Because we all want to strive for the best and we want to get out of our country because we know that if we go outside, for example, in Switzerland, Germany, France, States also, we are able to find many more opportunities. So we don't want to settle.
So another thing like question that I have like about you've lived here like your whole life.
My whole life.
And then us, like we've moved from around in America, in different states in America, and then now we're here. Like, if you were to go to America, what would be like the first few things that you would want to like try to figure out, try to like experience, you know, like explore, like.
Actually, I've never thought about that because I thought about moving to the US, but I was more worried about like the documents and all that kind of stuff because it's hard to get a green card. But actually, now that I think about that, I don't know. I would like first thing to see all the big cities. For example, New York, DC, all the big cities. And then, I don't know, just figure out your way of living because it's so different. Because here in Italy, we have a slow way of living, okay? We are not much in a rush. I mean, you can see that, guys. When you walk outside, people are just relaxed, unless you go to big cities where there are big companies and stuff like that. But still, I got the impression that in the US, it's always like a rush. You gotta be fast. You gotta make money, and you gotta hustle.
Got like a sense of urgency.
Yeah. So if I were to move to the US, I would like to move like one of those states on the south in a rural area. Just be chill, breathe.
Yeah.
I don't want to live to big cities. I mean, I would like to see that because they're so different from here. Just experience that, but not live in those cities. No. That would be too much for me.
I'm definitely gonna like back you up like on that part where you were saying like how big cities are more like everybody is.
Yeah.
They're trying to do something.
And then like, cause when we were living in the country, like it was like calm. I mean, of course we kind of got bored, but like it was three of us. Think about it if it was like just one kid living in the country. Like that's probably really boring. But you know, we figured out games to play, this and that. But like it was calm and it was like a nice, you know.
Not a lot of violence.
Yeah, not a lot of violence. We didn't have to worry about like you know, like bad things happening because like we live so deep in the woods and it was just like, you know, calm. The water was near us, trees, just, you know, everything.
The only thing we had to worry about was like racism.
Yeah.
Like in the country.
Sometimes it wasn't super bad, but
it's like more racism.
Yeah, maybe because it's Louisiana. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is an ex-Confederate state? Is it?
But we lived in Virginia.
Okay. Was it still one of those? Or
we've been accused of stealing for no reason. We've been like,
I mean,
racially profiled, things like that. Like, I don't know.
Honestly, I wouldn't say it was like it's gonna be like a racial problem for like, you know, for like unless like you go to like a certain area. Sometimes it's not like that. But like if you go in like a mixed city area, they're probably not even gonna care, to be honest.
Like a diverse area.
Yeah, like a more diverse area, they're probably not even gonna care. But it just depends on where you go.
But are they racist just towards black people and maybe Hispanics?
No,
or
they're
also
racist
maybe
towards
if if I were to come to the US, would they be racist also towards me?
I don't think it's the same. Like for example, like I have like three, 4 friends who came from South Africa, and they were immigrants, right?
Yeah.
And it never seemed like they had any issues in regards to, you know what I mean, being an immigrant. I mean, like I will say that they've like gotten kicked out of a couple schools. Like that we went to private school together, and they ended up getting kicked out. And then ended up going to a public school, and somehow they got kicked out. And they never really like talked to me about why they got kicked out. And I can't really say what they did wrong. It might just be because they're an immigrant. But I know like being a white immigrant isn't the same as being like a colored immigrant. It's not the same.
I mean, here in Italy, we have racism too, okay? Don't get me wrong. If you go, for example, to big cities like Rome, there are still fascist people down there, okay? For example, some political party like Forza Nuova, they are trying to found a fascist party once again, okay? But that's illegal, okay? So they are racist, pretty racist. But and people sometimes are racist too because first thing, we are not used to have black people around because the first wave of immigration we had was like in late 2000, okay, from East Europe, and then people from Africa came. So we didn't have much immigration and black people around for much time. So that's first problem with racism. Second is that we've been what can I say, like we've been just Italians in our state for so many years, and we learned how to like
We're isolated.
But also we had racism before people went like inside our country, came to us, because North and South are still racist towards each other, okay? Because people from the South like me, I've been accused of being like lazy, of stealing things just because I'm from the South. People were racist towards me even though I'm white, okay?
Right.
But because I'm not from the North, because my surname is not from the North, so people were always like, oh, okay, you're the one from the South, so you do this, you do that. And I was like, I mean, I talk just like you, I just like you. I mean, we got the same skin colors, and still you're racist towards me.
Yeah.
So imagine how can people be racist towards people that are not like me if we are racist towards each other. We still have a problem inside. Just imagine how outside can work this stuff. I mean, but still, and also people are racist because as first generation immigrants don't make as much money as we have because we've been living in this state for much longer, so we have better opportunities.
Right.
So they turn to the criminal lifestyle and stuff. So we create stereotypes.
Right, yeah.
What's some things you've heard about the U.S. that you want to know is true or not?
Definitely problems with guns.
Yes. Okay, all right. What are some problems that you've heard? What are some things that you heard about the U.S. that you wonder is true or not?
I mean that in general, you guys love guns. Okay.
If you go to like the ghetto parts, like a lot of
Not
public
even the ghetto
You
parts.
think private school parts?
Country part, yes.
Oh yeah,
what?
country parts.
Any parts. What?
Not
Any part.
parts, not
And most parts of America, they love their guns.
Yeah.
And it's more like they think
Kids
they
love
need to
to have
defend
them.
themselves.
I mean,
Kids, yeah, kids have guns.
Here-
everyone.
here
I know
It's
kids.
something-
I know kids. I know, and their stories flashing them around. A lot of them think it's like cool or something to have them.
Yeah, it's definitely like a lot.
No,
I don't know. It depends because it's a whole mixture of like trying to be cool, trying to like stay safe, just
Trying
to
to
like
seem- trying to
scare
seem like-
people.
yeah.
Maybe scare tactic. Like
Branding.
some people just have it just to have it. Like it could be like a whole bunch of
Sometimes it's just to protect their family. Like, I don't know. And it's like, I don't know. It's sad because, like, okay, the way they see it is, okay, if my neighbor has a gun, then I should have a gun because what if my neighbor decides to, go crazy, shoot people or whatever? Because it's always happening. There's so much gun violence in America. You know what I mean, it's definitely a change of pace coming here and not having to worry about gun violence. You know what I mean? Whereas in the States, it's like, I don't know. I feel like you always have to kind of worry about that because it doesn't matter what part of the state you're at. There's going to be gun violence. There's going to be school shootings.
Like anybody could just
Yeah.
flip.
yeah, and we don't have that. For example, we never had school shootings because we don't have guns.
Right.
Can you believe how hard it is to get an unregistered gun here? it's impossible, literally impossible. I mean, you still can, but it's so hard. And I mean, if they catch you having like an unregistered gun, you're going to jail for so many years because it's so
Right.
dangerous. And also, you guys, I think that it's like in your legislation, like First Amendment or something, that
Yeah.
you must have a gun. We don't
No,
have
you
that.
don't. It's not you must, but you have the right
I mean,
to have
you,
a
you
gun.
have the right to have a gun.
Right.
No, we don't have the right. I mean, we don't have the right. And I mean, it's so crazy thinking that you have the right to have a weapon that potentially can take someone else's life.
Right.
I mean, you can still go around with a knife, and it's the same thing. You can go around and kill people, but at least you don't.
not
You are not
compulsory, yeah.
worried that somebody.
It's not just like a like pull of a trigger.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
something
They
that-
have to chase you, and still you got a chance to run away.
Exactly.
That's what I
Get in a car or
mean.
something, like, with guns,
Yeah,
you can shoot
yeah,
somebody in a
yeah.
car.
And like, and the thing is, it's not like these, like they. Some of these people have some crazy guns. Like they mod these guns and make them how they
Wow.
want them, automatic, everything. Like, oh my god, they be going crazy over these guns. Like,
Police, like they're definitely like how like I'm not gonna say police, but like what's the more professional word? Okay, I'm gonna say police.
Law enforcement?
Law enforcement.
Law
yes.
enforcement.
Law enforcement is definitely different from here. And in
Ooh,
the
it's so
States.
different.
yeah,
It's
that's
like
a lot
in the States, of course, police brutality, racist cops or whatever. But like here, I mean, maybe racist. We've even stopped one time. Like
and they basically just ask.
Yeah, they asked for IDs.
Yeah, but were they cool?
Yeah, they looked at our IDs and then walked.
Like firm, like
Yeah.
a little aggressive.
'Cause, I mean,
It's always like that, guys.
Yeah.
It's always like that. Even with me, it's always like that. Okay.
Because like we didn't speak the language, so we were like trying to understand what he was like
And
talking
so,
about.
It seemed like he was just agitated, maybe or something like that. But it was cool overall. It was cool overall. They just
They
got
looked at our IDs and then walked away.
and then
Yeah,
walked
it
away.
happens. It happens to me. Like going to university, many times they stop me, ask for ID. You give it to them, and they say, "Okay, you're free to go." But I mean, it's always like that. I mean, sometimes police brutality happens here too, but it's so rare. Okay, and it doesn't happen that often because when it happens, police has to face some serious, really serious consequences.
Right.
And for example, because you work for the state, if you are in the police force, you have a stable job and you cannot get fired.
Right.
But if they catch you doing stuff like that, they are gonna fire you and they are gonna put you in jail. So your life is gonna be
No,
like
it's not like that in the
destroyed,
States at all.
Like
destroyed. So people don't want to risk that and they act safe.
In
We
the
have
States, it's like
5 minutes,
possible,
John,
but
5
it's it never happens.
No, like they go to, even if they do go to trial, like more than likely, like honestly, like I feel like they even okay. There's police brutality. You know what I mean? A cop could beat someone up for no reason at all. They can move their hand a certain way and they'll beat them up, and then when they go to trial, it's just like, oh well, I fear for my life.
No, it's
And
not
they're
like
like,
that here.
Right, and I wish it was like it was like that in the States, but it's not. Like all they have to say is that they fear for their life. They're like, oh, I work in a dangerous job. People shoot at me, this, that, and the third. So I have to be like, I have to defend myself. Like, but like, bro, I don't know. Like,
No, here, if a policeman kills someone, even if they had to, they still face some trials. They risk their job. So, and here, for example, let me give you an example. You can see like online many videos of Italian police. For example, have to deal with drug addicts, violent
Right.
people, but they are still like very careful. They try to talk to them. If they
Right.
attack them, they tase them. And before they tase them, they have to warn them like so many times. They have to be like, okay, get on the ground, hands behind your back,
Man,
something.
what?
But like 10 times before they can finally tase them. And they cannot tase them if the person is like still and not doing anything. The person have to attack a police officer. And before they can pull out their guns, there must be something really serious going on, or they can face some serious question. And also because we have different police forces, they can like investigate on each other. For example, we have police.
so they hold each other accountable.
Yeah, exactly. We have police,
Okay.
we have carabinieri. Carabinieri is more like a police, but it's really like a branch of the army. Okay,
Right.
and they can both investigate on each other, and it happened many times, and that's why our law enforcement, it's actually not that bad.
No, yeah, that sounds way better. Because in the States, shoot, You don't have to attack the police to get tased. They could tell you, all right, get out of your vehicle. If you don't get out,
No,
you
they cannot.
done.
Yeah. They cannot.
Pepper spray. They
Pepper
pepper
No, no,
spray,
no, 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 no,
everything. All right, guys, we're gonna start wrapping this up for this, for this podcast. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Jeez, okay.
I still have a feeling like we haven't covered everything yet.
No, there's definitely a lot we could cover. All right, we might come back with a part 2, guys. We'll see. All right, I like that. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. All right, Giacomo, thank you for coming. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.